I am doing a video on why LeBron is clearly a better basketball player than Michael Jordan. And I would specifically like to dedicate this video to my neighbor, who I will not name, and also a certain member of the Pooler family that I will not name. I hope both of these individuals are able to see this, as well as all the LeBron haters out there. So let's begin. The first reason why LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan is because he does just about everything better than Michael, other than he averages 3 less points per game. So LeBron is a better rebounder. He's a better passer. He is more efficient from 2 shooting the ball. He's a better 3-point shooter. He's a more versatile defender. He can guard every single position 1 through 5, whereas Michael could only guard 1, 2, and maybe 3 sometimes. LeBron is also a better shot blocker than Michael. So when you combined those facts, LeBron is going to, well, he's already passed Michael in points on less shooting. I love hearing when people say, Michael only played 15 seasons, and this is LeBron's 17th, and it took him 2 more years to pass Michael in scoring or whatever, when LeBron passed him in scoring on less shots, which is much more amazing. So LeBron has played longer. He's played multiple seasons more than Jordan, taken less shots than Michael, and passed him in scoring. That is absolutely unbelievable. So statistically, he's going to crush Jordan in any measure. He's going to average, well, not even average, but he's going to have way more assists, way more rebounds. LeBron is already the first person to score 30 points and have over, I think it was 5,000 assists and 5,000 rebounds. But ultimately, LeBron will finish with close to 39,000 points, over 10,000 assists, over 10,000 rebounds, and no one has ever even come close to doing that, not to mention Michael Jordan, not even close. So when you combine the fact that he does just about everything better than Michael, and this is really important, he's bigger, faster, stronger, and taller than Michael. So I love to use the playground analogy with this argument. If you have 2 kids on the playground that are pretty much the same skill level, but one of them is taller, faster, and stronger than the other one, who are you going to pick? The answer is obvious. You're going to pick the kid that's taller, faster, and stronger because he has a better chance of winning than the other person just because of his size. So LeBron, the first reason why he's better is because he does just about everything better than Michael, although Michael did do a few things better than LeBron. But they're pretty much, it's very close skills-wise. So what I'm trying to say is when you're very close in skill-wise, you're going to pick the guy that's bigger, stronger, and faster, and that's LeBron, and it's clearly LeBron. So the second reason why LeBron is better than Michael is because he is much more valuable, and I would argue that LeBron is the most valuable player of all time, and it's not even close. And the way we can look at value is we can see how teams did when these guys left the teams that they played for. So let's start with Michael. The Bulls won 3 straight championships in 91, 92, 93. And then Michael retired to play baseball, or he was forced out of the league by David Stern for gambling issues, but we won't go into that. Anyways, Michael leaves the Bulls. In the 93 season, the Bulls had won 57 games with Michael. He leaves, and the Bulls win 55 games without Michael. So the Bulls win 55 while Michael is playing baseball. Anyways, the Bulls, obviously they didn't win the finals the year without Michael, but they did get to the second round of the playoffs. They faced the Knicks, and it ended up going 7 games. And if it weren't for a blown foul call on Scottie Pippen, the Bulls would have gone to another conference finals and potentially another NBA finals without Michael Jordan. It's a pretty infamous play. Scottie Pippen fouled a guy named Hugh Hollins on a three-pointer. He didn't really foul him, and because of that, the Knicks ended up winning Game 7 and going to the Eastern Conference Finals to play the Pacers. And most people think that had that call not been made, the Bulls would have beat the Pacers and gone to another NBA Finals. Now, do I think that the Bulls would have won the Finals without Michael? No, because Michael was obviously he was the best player for the Bulls, and I don't think that they would have won a championship without him, but they were so close to getting there without him. So let's look at what LeBron has done when he leaves teams. So let's look at the Cavaliers from LeBron's last season was 2009-2010 with the Cavs. I believe they won 66 games or so. They ended up losing to the Magic in the Eastern Conference Finals. LeBron leaves and joins the Heat. We all know how that happened. So the Cavaliers won 66 games in LeBron's last season with them. And then the next year, they were the worst team in the NBA. Missed the playoffs. I don't even think they won 25 games. It may have been less than 20. So the Cavaliers go from a 66-win team in the Eastern Conference Finals. They lose one man, LeBron James, and they miss the playoffs entirely, and they're the worst team in the NBA. Again, Michael left the Bulls. They were one game away from being in the Eastern Conference Finals, and they probably would have gone to another NBA Finals without Michael. Then LeBron goes to the Heat, takes them to 4 straight finals, leaves. They miss the playoffs entirely. Again, LeBron, even if you hate the guy, he is more valuable to his teams than Michael was, because, again, when he leaves, teams go from being in the finals, being the best team in the league or being the best team in the conference, to literally missing the playoffs entirely and being one of the worst teams in the league. When Michael left, the Bulls were fine. Now, that doesn't take away, again, from the fact that the Bulls needed Michael to win the finals, but he was not as valuable as LeBron. And let me look at my notes here. This is something that I left out, but Scottie Pippen, the year that Michael didn't play and the Bulls won 55 games without Jordan, and they lost in the second round of the playoffs, Scottie Pippen finished third in MVP voting. He never gets enough credit for his value to the Bulls, but the fact that he was third in MVP voting shows you that the Bulls had just a great team in general, even without Michael. Let's see. Some other instances where LeBron he's just done more with less than Michael did. 2015 NBA Finals, the Cavaliers faced the Golden State Warriors, who had just won 67 games in the regular season. Kevin Love and Kyrie get hurt. They don't even play in the finals. I think Kyrie, he didn't even last all of game 1. Kevin Love didn't play at all. And LeBron averages 35, 13, and 9 and takes this Warriors team to 6 games in the finals, with Matthew Dellavedova literally being his second best player. That is just absolutely insane that they even won a single game against that Warriors team, because LeBron had absolutely no help. Some other instances would be 2007 when, at 22 years old, LeBron took a horrible, probably the worst team he's ever played for, Cavs team, to the NBA Finals. He lost to the Spurs, but he still got there. He still got to the finals. And one thing that a lot of people forget is that to get to the finals, he beat a Detroit team with 2 Hall of Famers. I would say Chauncey Billups and Ben Wallace will be Hall of Famers. Regardless of whether they are or not, that Detroit team had been to 6 straight Eastern Conference Finals, and 3 years prior, they had embarrassed Shaq and Kobe and beat them in 5 games in the finals. So this Detroit team was for real. They had veterans. LeBron is 22 years old, and in Game 5 of that series, LeBron ends up dropping 48 on Detroit. He scores 29 of the Cavs' last 30 points to to win Game 5 and beat the Pistons, and then the Cavs would go on to win Game 6. But, I mean, that is absolutely amazing. That Cavs team with a 22-year-old star and absolutely nobody else had no business even being in the finals. And people forget, too, that LeBron also beat a Nets team with Richard Jefferson, Jason Kidd, and Vince Carter to get to the finals as well. So you have the 2015 finals, the 2007 finals that LeBron shouldn't have been in. And then there was one other that I needed to mention. 2018 is also just another year where LeBron had absolutely no business being in the finals. In the very first round, Indiana took him to 7 games. He ended up beating them. He swept the Raptors, who were the number 1 seed in the East. A lot of people didn't think he'd do that. And then he beats the Celtics in 7 games. And if it weren't for J.R. Smith having no idea what he's doing on the basketball court, LeBron would have won a game against that Warriors team with Kevin Durant, Steph, Clay, and Dre, and that just would have been amazing. Now, the third thing I'd like to is some misconceptions that people have about the LeBron. Jordan, he never beat. People act like he was unbeatable. He never beat Larry Bird. He never beat Isaiah Thomas. He never beat the Magic or the Showtime Lakers when these guys were in their prime. A lot of people don't know this, but Michael was busy getting swept from 84 to 90. So 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90. Michael is not even in the NBA Finals. He's getting beat before the finals. A lot of people like to bring up the fact that, he scored 63 on Bird and the Celtics. Yeah, he did, and he got swept in that series. He didn't even win a game. Basketball is a team sport. It doesn't matter how good you are as an individual. It's a team sport. Michael was great. Obviously, he scored 63. He may have averaged close to 40 points in that series, but he didn't win a single game. He got swept in the first round, and that's something that's never happened to LeBron. He's never gotten swept in the first round. He's never lost in the first round. So Michael never beat Bird. He never beat the Pistons until they got old. He never beat the Showtime Lakers either. A lot of people will say, in 91 he beat Magic and Worthy, and that was the Showtime Lakers. No, it was not. He beat the Lakers in 91, but Magic had AIDS. He retired the very next year. Worthy was hurt. That was not the Showtime Lakers. That was a shell of the Showtime Lakers. Is it awesome that Michael is 6 for 6 in the finals? Absolutely. That's great. No one has ever done that other than some guy for the Celtics in the 60s, Havlicek or something. What was I going to say? Michael, here's the thing. In those 6 finals, Michael was supposed to win them. He was favored in every single finals that he played in. So out of the 6 finals, he was favored to win. Vegas had him winning all 6 of those finals, and he did. And he did because he had a better team. When you have better players, you have the better team. And so Michael won when he was supposed to. LeBron has been to 9 finals, and he's only been favored in 2 of them. So a lot of people, even though LeBron has been, he's only been favored in 2 out of 9 finals, he's won 3. Now a lot of people will bring up LeBron choking in the Dallas series, which he was favored to win against the Mavericks, and he came up short. He was absolutely horrible. Scored 8 points in Game 4 of that series. Averaged 3 points a game in the fourth quarter of that entire series. That is probably the biggest choke by a superstar of any major sport. It was horrible. But the problem is LeBron then came back and had the greatest 5-year stretch of any player in the history of basketball, winning 3 championships, 3 finals MVPs, and he ends up going to 8 straight finals. I hear this from people. They say, oh, well, LeBron could not have competed against the harsh defenses of the 80s and 90s. And you know what? The people who say that, I honestly don't think that you've thought about what you're saying, because LeBron is the biggest physical beast other than Shaq that the NBA has ever heard. And you're saying that he wouldn't do well against physical defenses? You have got to be kidding me. He would have, oh my goodness, people in those eras, a player didn't exist anywhere close to what LeBron is physically. He would have manhandled those guys, dunked all over people. A lot of people say, oh, well, LeBron, his numbers are better in today's game than they would have been back then. That is, no. He would have been better in the 80s or 90s, because no one would have passed like him. No one was as athletic as him. There were just no physical forces like him back then. LeBron would have dominated those eras. And if you put LeBron on those Bulls teams, he would have my paper. He probably would have won 8 championships, and I really do think that. There were some things that made Michael's road to winning easier when he played. For instance, there were some expansion teams that were being created in the late 80s, early 90s, where Michael. It would be easier for his teams to win because you had multiple teams that just started from nothing. They were starting from scratch. They didn't have talent. They didn't have veterans. So it was much easier for people for those teams that had already existed to win. Another thing is, too, people don't realize this, but they actually moved the three-point line closer for a few years while Michael was playing, yet he still didn't shoot a better three-point percentage than what LeBron shoots today. The finals, like I said, it's amazing that Michael won 6 finals, 6 for 6. That's crazy. But something that people forget is that he never beat a team with more than 2 All-Stars or Hall of Famers. LeBron has beaten teams with 3 All-Stars, 3 Hall of Famers, or 4 All-Stars and 4 Hall of Famers. You look at the Thunder from 2012 that LeBron beat. They had James Harden, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, 3 future MVPs that will all be Hall of Famers. Not to mention they had Derek Fisher, who's a 5-time NBA Finals champion, Kendrick Perkins, who won a NBA Finals, Serge Ibaka, Thabo Cephalosha. I mean, that was just a really, really solid team, very deep team. And LeBron slaughtered them in 5 games. It wasn't even close. Then you look at the Spurs in 2013. They had 4 Hall of Famers / All-Stars. Kawhi Leonard, Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker. Not to mention the fact that they had arguably the greatest coach of all time, Greg Popovich, Hall of Fame coach. And LeBron beat them in 7 games. Now, that was a much closer series than 2012, but LeBron still beat them. And then lastly, 2016, LeBron faces a Golden State Warriors team with 3 Hall of Famers, 3 future Hall of Famers, a 2-time MVP, first time ever unanimous MVP that won 73 games in the regular season, set the NBA record with 73 games won in the regular season. And LeBron beats them. And in all 3 of those finals that I just mentioned, LeBron was not favored to win. He was not supposed to win, but he still won. And that's just a testament to how a lot of people will bring up LeBron's finals record as the downfall of why he can't be better than Michael Jordan. And that's just silly because, again, and I already mentioned this, LeBron went to 9 finals, which means that he lost 6 of them. So that means he finished second. He got second place in 6 years in the NBA. And then 3 of those he finished first. So 9 different instances he finished first or second in the NBA, and Michael did not do that. Now, like I said, Michael, he was getting beat in the first round. He was 1-9 in the playoffs before Scottie Pippen showed up. He could not win. He couldn't beat Bird, couldn't beat Isaiah. He was losing until he got help, and that's the main point. Basketball is a team sport. It takes a team effort. One man cannot win all the games and win a finals by himself. It's absolutely impossible. It's never happened before. It'll never happen again. But one more misconception is this idea that LeBron isn't clutch. Like I said, did LeBron choke? Has he choked before? Yes. Is Michael more mentally tougher, or was Michael more mentally tough than LeBron? I would say yes. But that doesn't mean that Michael didn't choke. ESPN has burned the tapes, but people forget about, and they probably don't even know, aren't even aware of it, that Michael choked in the 1995 Eastern Conference Finals. The Bulls played the Magic, and this was a lockout season, so it was a little bit shorter. But they faced the Magic, and in Game 5, I believe it was Game 5 of that series, Michael's bringing the ball up to try to win the game. Nick Anderson steals the ball from him. They go on a fast break, pass to Horace Grant, who dunks on somebody, and the Magic end up winning the series, going to the finals. The Magic lost to Houston. But Michael choked. He turned the ball over to lose a game that ended up costing him the series. He choked. Now, what I'm trying to say here, though, is this whole idea that LeBron is not clutch is just, I don't know. I think it came from Skip Bayless, because the man just will not shut his mouth about it. He talks about LeBron being a choke artist all the time. So I think the more you hear it, people just start believing it. But on game-winning shots or game-tying shots where there is less than 5 seconds in a game in the postseason, these are playoff games, LeBron is 7 of either 15 or 16 on game-winning, game-tying shots in the playoffs, where Michael is 5 of 11. So LeBron has actually hit more game winners / game tiers than Michael has in his entire career, and the percentage on those shots is extremely close. And with specifically just game-winning buzzer beaters, LeBron has hit more of those in the playoffs than Michael. So this whole idea that LeBron is not clutch, it's got to stop. Again, do I think Michael was more mentally tough? Yes. Michael was never afraid. I've watched a lot of his highlights and things. He was never afraid to take the ball and make a play late in games, when I can definitely say LeBron has appeared scared and afraid sometimes. But again, just because he has appeared that way doesn't mean you can take away from the times where he hasn't been scared and he has won games. The other thing, too, is with people like Michael and Kobe. Kobe will be a different video because that's a whole nother story. But people like that, they don't take any heat for taking and missing shots late in games. People will just say, oh, well, at least they had the guts to shoot it. Well, LeBron has the guts to make the right basketball play no matter what happens. And for some reason, people somehow take that against LeBron, the fact that he is going to make the right play. He will pass up a contested shot for a wide-open three, which leads to another hilarious argument that a lot of Jordan fans like to talk about when they say that LeBron has had teammates that have saved him in some of these playoff games and stuff. Well, didn't Michael have Steve Kerr who hit a shot? Didn't Michael have John Paxson who hit a shot? If those two guys don't make those shots, then Michael, he doesn't win 2 finals of the 6 that he won. So again, I'm not saying that these guys won those finals for Michael or LeBron, but they had teammates. It's a team sport, like I've said, and we got to quit acting like it's this individual thing where it all depends on one guy, because it doesn't. So yeah, that's mostly like what I wanted to talk about with this video, just the misconceptions. And again, yeah, I do think it's clear that LeBron is better than Michael just because he's bigger, faster, stronger, taller, and he does everything Michael did, but better for the most part, other than, again, a mere 3 points per game on their career averages. Yeah, it amazes me that two guys with similar play styles, but one is 2 or 3 inches taller and weighs 50 more pounds, more athletic, faster, and we still want to say that the smaller, shorter guy is better. I have nothing against Michael Jordan. I actually really, really like him. Like I said, he was never afraid of the big moment. LeBron has been, so that is something to take away from LeBron. But overall, I just think it's clear that LeBron is a better basketball player. He's bigger, stronger, faster, and he does everything, most things better, and some things very close to as good as Michael. So I hope that you all enjoyed this video. Hopefully I'll come out, or I would like to come out with a video on why LeBron is better than Kobe sometime soon. So please give me your feedback, and I hope you enjoyed.